Today, we'll be looking at some books I just got back from CGC. Stay tuned. Welcome back to My Third Life and the CGC Reveal. So for those of you who are new to comics or don't know what that is, CGC is a grading company. They grade all kinds of things, comic books and trading cards and magazines and even video games, but of course we're here for the comic books. Now, my very first submission was actually a couple of years ago when I started getting back into comic books during the lockdowns, and I decided to send in some of my favorite books and a couple of spec books. And of course, back then I didn't know anything about, grading or cleaning or pressing or how to evaluate the grade of a book before I sent it in, and so the grades I got back weren't all that great. And it took a really long time. It was like 6 months from the time I sent a book, those first books in, until they came back. I'm happy to say that things have improved dramatically since then, both in my own skills in evaluating books and deciding what to send in, and in the return time. This submission only took a couple of weeks from the time I sent it in. They graded it and they sent it back, all in like 2 weeks. Fantastic. So let's get into what I sent and why I sent it. First up, X of Swords, creation number 1 from January 2021, and this is the Sawayan Virgin variant cover. Now, I think I've explained this in another video, but a virgin cover is where you don't have the name of the book, the issue number, anything like that. It's just the art. And so the companies, Marvel, DC, etc., they'll put out different variant covers themselves, but individual comic book shops can also commission an artist to do a cover for certain issues. This is from Comic Traders, and I got this on Whatnot. According to them, they're the number 1 in Canada and number 2 in the world in commissioning their own unique variant covers for their shop. And so I got this on one of their Whatnot shows, and it's a really cool cover. You know, you've got Apocalypse and his horsemen, and so there's a couple reasons why you can send books in to get graded and encapsulated. You know, either you're trying to increase the value and resell it, or you just want to protect it, display it, think it's a cool cover, what have you, for an older book. Maybe it's deteriorating and you want to protect it. Or, like I said, it's a newer book that you want to just put on the wall and look at. So, ideally, the goal is to get a 9.8 or better. And, there's actually a pretty big difference in value when you go from a 9.6 to a 9.8. A lot of times, it's pretty common for books to double in value from a 9.6 to a 9.8. So anything under a 9.8, especially for a modern book anyway, it's really a tough thing to see, especially when you're expecting a 9.8. So let's see what we've got. And I've heard this before from other comic book people who send things into CGC, that they look the books over, they were perfect, they send them in, they get them back, and they're surprised to get that 9.6 or 9.4, and they look it over and they see damage that wasn't there when they sent it in. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this corner right up here is damaged. And I can guarantee you that was not there when I sent this book in. It's pretty obvious. So what happened? I don't know. Could have been in shipping, could have been something they did when they handled the book. But again, it's not unheard of to hear the same story from other people. So it is a disappointment, of course. I don't know, how much of a decrease in value that's going to be for this book. So there's a good chance I may end up just keeping this, because even if I were to crack it out and send it back, it's not going to get a higher grade with that damage on there. So moving on. This one's Hulk number 6, and it's the 60th anniversary Spider-Man edition. So it is a Hulk, but it's a variant edition, but it's an actual Marvel variant edition. And let's see, the artist on this one is Alex Garner. So it's a Spider-Hulk cover. So it's just it's a cover that Marvel came up with for the 60th anniversary edition. And what did we get? We got the 9.8. All of these books, it's 10 and 7, they're all newer books. And this one, I believe I got, if I remember right, I ordered it on eBay. And so, it's pretty remarkable. I didn't clean or press any of these. I just looked them over, picked the best ones that I thought would get a 9.8, and here we are. We got the 9.8, and should have gotten a 9.8 on that other one. Next up, a book that I picked up from Bry's Comics a few months back, and Champions number 1. This one's another store variant. It's the Midtown Comics variant, and this one is the Breakfast Club movie poster homage. And you can see it's the Champions Club. And so, again, just another book that I thought looked good and could get the grade, and did we? And we did. So, other than that, there's nothing really too special about this book, other than, it is a number 1, Champions number 1, and it is from way back in 2016. So, to still get that 9.8 grade from a book that I got from a dealer through the mail, that's says a lot about how it was handled and treated and mailed. Next book, definitely, probably one of my favorite covers is the X-Force Killshot Anniversary Special. This one's another store variant from Comic Traders that I got on Whatnot. And, just a real nice throwback to the 90s. X-Force, you got Cable, Domino, Deadpool, Shatterstar. This cover is by Anacleto, I believe. Yeah, Anacleto, a Virgin cover. Just a really cool cover, and even when I sent this in, I wasn't sure if I was going to sell it or keep it, because I just, I like it so much. So what did we get here? Another 9.8. And again, that really tells you a lot about the books that Comic Traders are putting out. And for them to, if you go onto their Whatnot stream, and they'll talk about sometimes they're in Canada, but they order the books from the United States. They actually drive down and pick them up. I want to say they go to Texas and then drive all the way back. And they've got a actual warehouse in Montana that they ship out of. Their store is in Canada. A beautiful book. Next is the most recent one. I got this at a local comic shop, straight off the rack, which, is you're taking a chance. You got to really look them over. People have handled them, and you got to kind of pick through them a little bit and pick the best one. And so this is Thanos Death Notes #1, and it's from January 2023. And so, we're just in February. So I got this and sent it off right away just because I liked the cover. It's another Marvel variant. And let's see what we got. 9/8. So I will be putting a lot of these up on eBay. Now, as I'm looking at this, I see these little spots that look like an oil slick. And I think that's what they call Newton rings. It's something I've heard of before. I hadn't seen until now. And I believe that they will reholder the book for free if you send it back to them. The next one, Kang the Conqueror, from October 21, and it's a Silva variant cover. And so I sent this one in because we got the Quantum Mania movie coming out any day now. And Kang the Conqueror is in the new Quantum Mania movie, so I thought there might be some hype and I'd maybe get a little bump on this one. And we did get the 9.8, so there we go. And one more, finally. Amazing Spider-Man, #6, but Legacy 900. I think I've explained in another video about how they restarted several series back at #1, but they still are continuing the original Legacy numbering system. So you kind of still know where you're at overall. But for newer people coming in, I guess it's kind of a chance for them to jump in at a new starting point. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess I understand if that's the reason. But, I mean, #1, a first issue of something used to really mean something and be worth more. But now there's a whole bunch of #1s. It seems they start over every couple of years or. So, I don't know. Anyway, you let me know down in the comments how you feel about that. But this is a Peach Momoko variant cover. And let's see what we got. Okay, 9.6. Now on this one, on the first book they got a 9.6. It was obvious there was damage to that corner. This one, I've looked at and looked at and looked at, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this book. It's a square bound book, so there are no staples like with most comic books. You have staples, 2 or 3 staples along the spine. The pages are printed out. They're all stapled, and then it's folded over. Where this doesn't have staples, it's square bound. I assume it's glued. So, and it's a thicker book because it is the issue 900. And, so there's no spine ticks, there's no corner crunches, there's no creases. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. And you would think, well, what did they put in the notes? Well, if you get a 9.6 or above, so far in my experience, they don't include any greater notes. Below that, grades below that, they'll include greater notes and tell you what happened. So you get to a 9.6, there's no longer any greater notes, so you don't know why I didn't get that 9.8. So if you wanted to fix it, send it back, it's kind of a crapshoot. I've heard of other people talk about cracking books that got a 9.6 and sending it back and then finally getting the 9.8. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. It's a disappointment, but I do have 2 more raw copies. So we'll see. I'll have to think about whether I want to keep it or sell it, keep it until I get a 9.8. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's it. That is my first real CGC submission now that I actually kind of know what I'm doing. And Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like this content, give me a thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe, because you just never know what kind of content I'm going to put up, because I never know what kind of content I'm going to put up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again. It's deteriorating. Mothers.